Hey, I'm Mike from Music Radio Creative, and this video is a response to EposVox's recent video calling the Heil PR40 a legendary disappointment.
I've almost never been as disappointed in a microphone review as I have been with this one.
So what could that be? It's such a good mic, right? Leo Laporte uses it. Many other professional podcasters use the Heil PR40. Why would EposVox say it's a legendary disappointment? Well, the first thing I would say is that each microphone does sound different, as EposVox demonstrated in his video. He went over to the Electro Voice RE320, and it sounded bright, it sounded great. To my preference, a little too bright, a little too high-endy for my liking. But that's what I think it all comes down to. It all comes down to personal preference. Sometimes you're going to listen to your voice on one mic and say, that sounds great. Then you're going to switch to another and say, that sounds awful. We all have different voices with different frequencies, different sounds, and absolutely one mic is going to sound different to the next. One thing I would say is Heil Sound definitely deserve 2 thumbs up for supporting the podcasting community, being at every podcasting event, and just generally being nice to podcasters. But that doesn't mean that a Heil PR40 should be called legendary if it's not, right? The Heil PR40 in all of my tests, and I've tested many different microphones, came out on top for being the most forgiving microphone in many different environments. So if you're in a room with lots of reverb, if you're in a room that's not well sound treated, as my new recording space is not very well sound treated right now, it's a big process moving from one studio to the next. So financially, I'm trying to make that work right now. But the Heil PR40 is super forgiving. If I wanted to use a condenser mic like the AKG C414 XL2, well, that wouldn't be so good in the room as it is now. The Electro Voice that EposVox demonstrated, for me, it was way too bright and way too top-endy for my liking. But at the end, he did mention about having compression on my voice during my initial review of this microphone.
At the same time, I don't understand situations where Mike Russell over at musicradiocreative.com claims his sample is completely raw and untouched from the microphone, and it sounds like the most compressed and bass-heavy thing in the world because his own voice isn't even that, bassy.
Yes, I did, and I never mentioned that I didn't. I think it's extremely important that you do post-process your voice, not only in your DAW once you get into Adobe Audition or whatever you're using, but also using hardware like the DBX286S, as EposVox mentioned, and the Soundcraft Signature 12 MTK. In fact, what I'd recommend doing, and what I'd actually recommend you doing, EposVox, is going back, running it through your DBX286S, changing the settings away from your Electro Voice microphone, and tuning in the LF detail, the HF detail, the low end, the high end, specifically for the Heil PR40's frequency response. But not only once you've done that in the DBX286S, go over to your Soundcraft Signature 12 MTK and stick on the EQ there. Tune the high frequency, the mids, the lows again, until you get a sound you want. And I pretty much guarantee you'll be able to make this microphone sound good because it sounds good to me. But then again, I do believe at the end of the day, I think this is the conclusion. It all comes down to your personal preference. I like the Heil PR40. I use it. EposVox, not such a fan. But then again, I really enjoy your channel. I think you put out great content, EposVox. Continue to do it and continue to be honest with your audience. I think that's what it's all about. But on this one, I'm definitely a fan of the Heil PR40, providing you put it through a DBX286S and run it through some EQ on your board. If you have that option, you can definitely make this microphone sound good.